I'm Matt, and this is a lead guitar tutorial for Elevation Worship's Give Me Faith. A couple quick notes. This is the version from their For the Honor album, which, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of the original version. I know they re-recorded it later on their next album, and then there's also another live version floating around from around that time. This is following the one that's on that album. And then I learned this from an official Elevation Worship tutorial video that the guitar player made, which has now gone missing, so I can't find it anywhere. So I'm going to say that the version I'm about to show you, I've been playing this at least monthly for 6 years, so it might have morphed a little. I'm going to say this is 93% exactly what they're playing, and if there's any of my own little modifications that have crept in, sorry about that, but now I can't find the original video, so that's why I'm making this one. Pretty much this entire song is played on the top 3 strings, and then it's mostly up kind of in this position between, say, 7 and 12. There's one riff where it goes down here, and there's one riff where it's up here, but this is kind of your bread and butter place that it's going to be. So I'm going to go over each of the riffs kind of separately, but I've recorded an acoustic rhythm track because it really is all just up here, so it sounds kind of weird by itself. And then I'll also have a tab in the comments below this video. I'll have a link to a tab because I know some people find that easier to follow. So effects-wise, I have this Timmy always on just to provide a little bit of a grit to the sound, but it's still basically clean. And then I'm using an analog delay on the Nemesis here, set to, I think it amounts to 1/8 notes, and then a room reverb on the Blue Sky. And that's the sound for at least the first half of the song. I'll engage some other stuff later. The intro that it kind of fades in on this album version starts on, it's like an A2 kind of. I'm doing it like this. It's a power chord A on the 7 and 9 here. And then I'm holding down 12 here to get that B in there. If this is a stretch for you, you could probably do the 7 on the highest string as well, like this. But for me, it's actually easier to do it this way. And these two stay the same. This string moves through this little intro bit before the band comes in. So it's kind of like this. Let me turn down those effects just a little bit. That's kind of a lot to hear through. And then where I resolved right there is kind of where the vocals come in. So that's the verse riff. And it still mostly has this power chord here with a few things moving around. I'll show you that. So forgive me the tedious explanatory nature of this, but I know not everybody is going to go look at the tab. So basically it's an A power chord on a 7, 9, and 10 on these 3 strings. And then I'm going down to a root note of E here, and then the top part of an E chord, so it's this. And then I'm not sure if they're doing this or not, but I'm doing the root F sharp here on the next chord, so like this. You could also probably get away with something like this. But in case you're the only electric guitar, sometimes having that root there helps. And then this is 7, 7, and 10, so just a D chord. So that's the verse riff, and I think it's roughly the same on the second verse as well. This is what it sounds like with the track under it that I've made. forgot to mention this right at the beginning of the video, but for this part of the song, I'm on my neck pickup, and I actually stay on the neck pickup all the way until the bridge. It gives you a little bit more of that like warm, mellow sound, and then when the song really kicks into high gear, you can go to the bridge pickup and it gets a little more cutting. Sticking with the same pedals, same settings, the pre-chorus is down here, and it's the only part of the whole song I think that goes below like the 7th fret. On the B string, it goes 2, 3, 5, and then 5 on the high E. So it's just like this. And I keep the same gain settings and everything, but just dig in a little bit more on it. So with the Timmy especially, you can pick softly during the verse and get that more mellow, like... And then when it hits the pre-chorus, really dig in. But it's still basically a clean part, as far as I'm concerned. So here's what that sounds like with the acoustic under it. And then the chorus is back up here again, but it's pretty similar in tone and everything. So it's starting on the 9th fret on the high E, and then it's kind of just utilizing these sort of shapes right here. So I'll have this in the tab, but it's 9, 10, 12. At one point it uses 11 on the D, which is I think the only time you use the D string in this song. So here's what the chorus riff is like from start to finish. So here's what that sounds like with the rhythm under it, because it sounds pretty weird without the rhythm under it. And then after that, it's back into another verse, even kind of quieter than the first one. The next pre-chorus is kind of loud, so if you want to kick on another overdrive or something, it's this thing again. But underneath it, the drums are really going nuts and stuff. And then you do another chorus. The first point in the song where like my tone and pedals and stuff really change is the kind of guitar solo bridge thing. So for this bridge tremolo picking part, I switched to the bridge pickup to cut through a little better. I kick on my slightly higher gain overdrive, which in my case is this Snouse Black Box, but whatever it is that your like second stage overdrive is. And then still want delay and reverb because it helps with the tremolo picking. And then I'm even using a tube screamer as like a lead boost to really cut through the mix. That's optional. And then I'm using a micro pog to give it like a high octave, which is also optional. So I have a mess of stuff I turn on right here, and then I leave this stuff on through the bridge. But it's, here's what the tone sounds like now. So it's a little messy and chaotic, but that's kind of how this part feels to me. It starts on B, which is kind of an interesting choice, but so I'm doing the 12th fret on the B string here. And then it's just a fast tremolo picked like post-rock part, basically. I'll have this in the tab, but it's like 12, 14, 10, 9, down to 2, and then 12, 14, and it walks up. And then the bridge is this little riff that rings out. And I keep the same guitar tone, same pedals and stuff on, also on the bridge pickup, but it rings out more. So this is that tremolo picking part. So just kind of a noisy, like post-rocky tremolo thing. It doesn't have to be tremolo picked, I guess, if that's intimidating to where you're at right now. It could also just be like single notes held out. But it's supposed to be tremolo picked, and I kind of like doing it that way. And then that last note of this goes straight into the bridge, which is a series of kind of held out notes and then little walk downs. So this is that bridge riff. Once the vocals come back in, it's the I May Be Weak part. And it just repeats that a few times, kind of from the A here. And then back down to the A. Again, it'll be in the tab if you can't like exactly see what I'm playing here. It's all within this like 14th fret on the G string up to the 17th fret on the high E, just kind of this area. And it's just kind of walking up and then back down between like the root and the octave. And then here's what that sounds like with the acoustic rhythm going under it. And then it goes into a down chorus, which doesn't have a ton of guitar, but I just slowly come back in on the normal chorus riff as like the band builds back in. And then the only other thing that's left in this song is it reprises the bridge at the end, but it drops down and it's initially just drums and vocals. And then the bass and like a quiet guitar riff come in, and it's that same bridge riff, but an octave lower. So I do clean, back on the neck pickup, some reverb under it like this. And then on like the third time through the bridge, I'm back to the loud bridge pickup, overdrive, like sound from before. So here's what that sounds like with the acoustic under it. And then the crazy noise that made on the track is I happen to have this El Capistan by Strymon, and if you mash down the tap button, it goes into like self-oscillation, which if your band is ending this song really big and like the drums are crashing and you do like a trash can ending or something, I really like if you have a delay that can self-oscillate, just going into like a wash of noise there, but that's optional. And that's pretty much it. Those are, as far as I can remember it, the parts from the recorded song. Anything that I did that deviates from that is just because it's morphed over the years of me playing it and I'm misremembering it now, but it's pretty close. So hope that helps.